Welcome to P6 Week 25 Paper 2 review. If you haven't watched the Paper 1 review, please watch it before you watch this video. Today I have a short little story to tell. So yesterday I was at Popular Bookstore buying papers for my students to do. Then I saw a parent with this much of assessment books in her hands. Okay, I don't understand that PSLE is getting nearer, so please take good care of yourself, guys. Please still sleep enough, drink enough water, and take good care of your health. Study hard, but don't study so hard until it damages your health. Okay, see you in the review. Okay, so question 1. 25% of a number is 70 less than 60% of the same number. What is the number? So if I take the difference in a percentage, that actually equates to 70, right? So 60% minus 25% gives you 35%. So 35% will equate to 70. For paper 2, you have calculator. So take out your mighty calculator. So 1% will just be 70 divided by 35, which will give you 2. What is the number? The number will always be 100%. Because it's the original. To find the number, you just have to find 100%, which is 2 times 100. So you should get 200. Next, the figure shows two identical semicircles with a diameter of 14 cm. Find the area of A. So it is labeled 14 cm is here. So they want you to find this guy, A, which is this guy. So I would say this is a very common question. So in order to find A, we have to take this guy, this is a quadrant, minus this triangle over here. So you find this part. After you find the red shaded part, you just have to multiply it by 2 to get A. Okay, so we'll do it in two parts. We'll first find the quadrant, area of the quadrant. So I'll color code it. It's the area of the quadrant. Quadrant means 1/4 of a circle. After that, you'll subtract this triangle over here. So this will be number 2. Then to find the shaded, it will be number 3. So when you multiply it by 2, you'll get A, which is what you want, the area of A. So we'll go with step 1 first. So you have to find the area of the quadrant. To find the area of the quadrant, you have to recall your formula for area of circle. So area of circle, what's the formula? Try to recall. It's actually pi r square. So if you look at this quadrant over here, it's actually 1/4 of a circle. So to find the area of the quadrant, you just take 1/4 pi r square. So in this case, pi is taken to be 22/7. And radius is half of a diameter. So we can find radius here. So radius is just 14 divided by 2, which is the diameter divided by 2. So you get 7. So we'll go back here, pi r square. So punch in your calculator, 1/4 times 22/7 times 7 square. It should give you 38.5. So now we can go and find the second part, which is this triangle over here. For area of triangle, it's just half. The formula is half times base times height. So in this case, the base here is equates to the radius, right, which is 7. The height here also equates to the radius, which is also 7. So it's just half times 7 times 7. Which should give you 24.5. So now if you take the blue part, this guy, minus the orange part, you get a red shaded part, right? So the red shaded part is just the blue part, 38.5, minus the orange part, 24.5. That should give you 14. So now in order to find A, you just have to take the red shaded part times 2. So just 14 times 2, you get 28. So area of A, just 14 times 2, which is 28 cm squared. So for the remaining part of the paper, right, I think there's also 1 or 2 questions like this that will pop up, where they ask you to find the area of the shaded part, and you have to make use of quadrant and triangle, like in this case. So next, the figure shows a solid. Complete the net of the solid by drawing in the two of the missing shapes in the figure below. So a net of a solid, using Google definition, a net of a solid is a diagram written on paper that may be used to make a solid object by cutting and folding along the lines. So for a cube, right, the net is actually something like that. So when you fold it, you will get a cube. So in this case, if you unfold it, what do you get? So it actually should look something like that. So if you can't see, this part is actually already given to you. Okay, so I'll highlight the corresponding sides using different colors. So this yellow triangle, I think this one is more obvious. This yellow triangle come from here. Then this part over here, the blue part, come from here. Then the red part actually comes from here. And the remaining part and the remaining unshaded part correspond to the remaining unshaded part in the figure. So how will this happen, right? Is you will just fold this in. This one will come down, and this one is just remains. So the red color will come down, the yellow folds in. So I need a bit of imagination now. Yeah, so I hope you can see it. If not, you can leave your question down in the comments section below. Next, in the figure below, not drawn to scale, please don't take out a projector, it won't work. PQR is an equilateral triangle and QRST is a square. Find angle X. So equilateral triangle, what's so special is that all sides are the same. And for square, all sides are also the same. So it will be like this. Another thing about equilateral triangle is that all angles are the same, which means this angle is 60. This angle is 60. This guy over here is also 60 degree. How do I get 60, right? Just take angle sum in the triangle, divide it by 3, because there are 3 equal angles. So this will give you 60 degree. Next up, I hope you can see this 90 degree over here, because there are just corners of a square. Okay, next part will be super duper important, so I hope you listen up. So next up, I want you to focus on this triangle over here. This triangle over here is the same thing as this triangle over here. So we just have to do one part and the other one will be the same. So just focus on the one on the left. So for this triangle over here, can you see that it's actually a isosceles triangle? So there's these two lines here, right? Which shows that they are equal, right? So it's actually an isosceles triangle, which means that you can find these two blue angles over here. So you can go and find angle RPS, which is also equals to angle RSP. And that's just 180 degree, angle sum in the triangle, minus 90, minus 60 degree, then the whole thing divided by 2. So you should get 30 degree divided by 2, which is just 15 degree. So the blue angle over here is 15 degree, 15 degree. It will be good if you can write the rules at the side. So what do you use? You use angle sum in the triangle, add up to 180. And you also use isosceles triangle rule. For this part, you use the equilateral triangle rule. Equilateral triangle. So like I said, the orange triangle is equals to the green triangle, which means all the angles will be the same, which means that this guy is also 15 degree. This guy is also 15 degree. So to find out what x is, right, can you see that you just need to take 60 minus 15 minus 15. So to find angle x, you just have to take 60 degree minus 15 degree minus 15 degree, and that should give you 30 degree. So the answer is 30 degree. I hope it's clear. If you have any questions, you can leave it down in the comment section below. Next, Muilin and Azrina drove separately from the cinema to a shopping mall. Muilin traveled at an average speed of 80 km per hour and arrived at the mall in 20 minutes. If Azrina drove at an average speed of 100 km per hour, how long will she take to reach the shopping mall? Okay, so you have two locations. One is the cinema. One is the shopping mall. So they both drove from cinema to shopping mall. There's two characters here. One is Muilin. One is Azrina. So you see distance and you see speed, right? So the first triangle that should pop into your mind is this DST triangle, which stands for distance, speed, and time. How to memorize this, right? Just remember your GST, goods and services tax. So instead of G, replace it with D, so you get a DST triangle. Okay, so for Muilin, she had an average speed of 80 km per hour, and the time she took was 20 minutes. For Azrina, we were only given the speed, which is 100 km per hour. Okay, I hope you understand that the distance that Muilin and Azrina traveled is the same, because the distance from cinema and shopping mall is the same and they took the same route, which means that the distance that both of them took was the same. So firstly, we want to find out what the distance Muilin traveled is, because for Muilin, you have the speed, you have the time, right? Which means you can find the distance. So to find the distance, you just have to take speed times the time. But take note of the units. One is in minutes, one is in hour. So you have to convert one of it. So converting from minutes to hours. So for this question, I would like to convert from minutes to hours. So 1 hour is actually how many minutes? Good, 60. So to convert from hours to minutes, you times 60. And in the reverse, minutes to hour, you divide by 60. So in this case, we want to convert from minutes to hours. So it's this direction. We divide it by 60. So 20 divided by 60, simplify. The zeros can be cancelled. 2, 6 can also be further simplified by dividing it by 2. So 2 divided by 2 give you 1. 6 divided by 2 give you 3. So you end up with 1/3 hour. So distance is just speed times time, right? So speed times time. I'll write this properly, which is just 80 over 3 km. So the distance between cinema and shopping mall is 80 over 3 km, which means for Azrina, the distance is also the same. It's 80 over 3 km. Now for Azrina, you got the speed, you got the distance, you can find the time, right? So how long it takes her to reach. So the time is just distance divided by speed. So distance is 80 over 3, speed is 100. Just punch into your calculator, 80 over 3 divided by 100, which should get you 4 over 15 hours, because this is in hours. So now the question wants us to express it in minutes, right? So 4 over 15 hours to minutes, it will be in the forward direction. So hours to minute is times 60. So you just have to take 14 over 15 times 60 minutes. Punch into your calculator, you should get 16 minutes. This one answer is 16. Okay, so question 6. Ming, Ali, and Raj have 32 robots altogether. If Ming gives 3 of his robots to Ali and Raj, he would have 2 more than what Ali and Raj have altogether. How many robots did Ming have? So I will draw a model with Ming and Ali and Raj together, because the question always group them together. So there's no need to separate them. So if Ming were to give 3 of what he has to Ali and Raj, Ming will still have 2 more than them, right? So 2 belongs here. So I also can trace these 3 out here. And in total, they have 32 robots altogether. So remaining, I can just put 1 unit, 1 unit. Okay, so I hope you know that this 3 was already given here. So this 3 doesn't exist anymore. So can you see that if I take 32, minus 3, minus 2, minus 3, I will get back 2 units. So 2 units is just 32, minus 3, minus 3, minus 2. And that should give you 24. So 2 units is 24. 1 unit will just be 24 divided by 2, which is 12. So 1 unit is 12. How many robots did Ming have? So Ming initially had this amount at first, right? So that's 1 unit plus 3 plus 2 plus 3. So 1 unit, which is 12, plus 3 plus 2 plus 3, which is 20. So answer is 20. Next, Rachel has 4 white sweets. Siti has 2 times as many sweets as Rachel. And Tina has 10 more sweets than Siti. Part A asks you how many sweets does Tina have? And part B asks you that if they share the sweets equally, how many sweets did Rachel give? Okay, so we'll do part A first. So I understand that algebra is only learned at the later part of the year. So this question might be a bit difficult for some of you. So I hope you can follow me through. So I have 3 characters. We have Rachel, we have Siti, and we have Tina. Rachel has 4 white sweets. Siti has twice as much as Rachel, which means that 2 times, right? So 2 times whatever Rachel has. 2 times 4y actually give you 8y. And Tina has 10 more sweets than Siti. So Siti has 8y and Tina has 10 more. So whatever Siti has, Tina has 10 more. So you do plus or minus. If you have more means the number should be larger, right? So you should plus. Then the question asks you, how many sweets does Tina have? Which is this, 8y plus 10. It's already simplified. Next, they tell you that they share the sweets equally. So how many sweets did Rachel get? In order to get the same number of sweets equally, you have to add them up first, right? So you collect all the sweets from Rachel, Siti, and Tina. Then you distribute them equally. So go and find the total first, which is 4y plus 8y plus 8y plus 10. So this is the total. So y plus 8y plus 8y gives you how many y? Choose just 1 plus 8 plus 8, which is 17. Then the number will be kept at the side. So basically you group all the y terms together. All the y terms will come together. Then the constant will be separate. So you cannot mix up the constant and y term together. Next, how many sweets did Rachel get? So if they split equally and there are 3 people, we'll just split this into 3 equal parts. So the answer will just be 17y plus 10 divided by 3. For this, you can use the Tan concept. So total average number. So in this case, you wanted to find the average, right? The total was 17y plus 10. The number was the number of people, and there were 3 people. That's why you take 17y plus 10 divided by 3. Hope that was clear. Question 9. The figure below is made of 2 squares and 1 circle. The radius of the circle is 14 meters. Find the total. Okay, next question 10. The figure below shows 4 identical circular buttons. Each button has a radius of 1.4 cm. Part A asks you to find the perimeter of shaded part that is enclosed by the buttons. And part B asks you to find the area of the shaded part. So radius of 1.4 cm. Radius is here. So half of the diameter. To find the perimeter means you have to add up this side plus this side plus this side plus this side. So I'll help you trace. So this side I will help you draw is this side will equate to this side will equate to this side, and this side will equate to this side. So I hope you can see that the perimeter is actually just the circumference of a full circle. So part A, perimeter, just circumference of a circle. So what's the formula to find the circumference of a circle? It's pi. Oh, Xiang, I hope you're watching this. Pi d. D stands for diameter. So in this case, diameter is twice of the radius. Radius is 1.4. Diameter is just 1.4 times 2, which is 2.8. So pi times diameter, and in this case, pi is taken to be 22/7 times 2.8. Just punch into your calculator. I should give you 8.8. So that's our part A answer, 8.8 cm. Now we'll go through part B. So I'll shift this over. Part B. Find the area of the shaded part. So it's very similar to the question just now. So we will split it into different shapes again. So I'll split into a square minus this quadrant over here. So if you can see, I'm color coding it. Then you can find this shaded part over here. After you find the red shaded part, you just simply multiply it by 4. Then you can find the area of the black shaded part, right? So we'll start with this square over here. So the area of this square is just length times breadth. And in this case, the length is 1.4 because the radius is 1.4. The breadth is also 1.4. So it's just 1.4 times 1.4. Punch into your calculator. It will give you 1.96. Next, you want to find the area of the quadrant. So this guy over here. Quadrant is just 1/4 of a full circle. So what's the formula for the area of a circle? It's pi r squared. But since it's a quadrant, and which means that it's 1/4 of a circle, you have to multiply by 1/4 at the front. It will be 1/4 times pi. Pi is 22/7. Radius in this case is 1.4. Punch into your calculator. I should give you 1.54. So now you can find the red shaded part, right? The red shaded part is just the square minus the purple quadrant. Minus the purple quadrant. So that will just be 1.96 minus 1.54. That should give you 0.42. And to find the area of the shaded part, which is the black color part, just times 4. So 0.42 times 4, which should get you 1.68 cm square. So for area, you always have this square. Okay, we'll move on to question 11. In the figure below, not drawn to scale, please don't take out your protractor. CDEFG is a polygon in which CD is equals to DE is equals to EF is equals to FG is equals to GC. Then they ask you to find angle Y. When all sides are the same, it also means that all angles are the same. So all these are also equals to angle Y. So I hope you can recall what is the formula to find the sum of angle in a polygon. So the sum of all the angles in a polygon is just the number of sides minus 2 times 180. So in this case, the number of sides is 5. there are 5 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 minus 2 times 180. And that should give you 540. This rule actually applies to triangle and squares and rectangles also. So if you recall, sum of angle in a triangle is 180, right? How did this 180 come about? It's because a triangle has 3 sides. So you take the number of sides minus 2, which is 3 minus 2 times 180. So you end up having 1 times 180, and that just equals to 180. Same thing for squares or rectangles. So basically 4-sided polygons in general. For 4-sided polygons, of course, there will be 4 sides. So you'll just take 4 minus 2, the number of sides minus 2 times 180. So that gives you 2 times 180, and that will give you 360, which makes sense, right? Because there are 490-degree in a square or rectangle, and 490-degree will add up to 360-degree. So that's the formula. So if all the angles in this polygon adds up to 540, and you just want to find out one of it, right? So you will just take 540 divided by 5. And that should give you 108 degree. So angle Y is 108 degree. Okay, so if you can't see, I'll draw it for you. So these 5 angles will all add up to 540. So to just find one of it, that's why we divide it by 5. Okay, next up, find angle Z. So angle Z is easier to find. We'll use the property of adjacent angles on a straight line add up to 180. So you can see that there's a straight line here, which means that to find angle Z, we can just take 180 minus 108, because this guy is 108. And the answer should be 72 degree. So part A, 108 degree, part 2, 72 degree. Next, Sarah and Elizabeth went to the shopping mall. Sarah bought 4 blouses at 12.10 each and some pants. Elizabeth bought 2.5 kg of biscuits at 1.5 kg, 150 per kg. Part A asks you, how much did they spend on the blouses and biscuits? So we'll deal with part A first. Okay, so one blouse costs you 12.10, which means 4 blouses should cost you 12.10 times 4. So punch into your calculator, you should get $48.40. Next, 1 kg of biscuit costs you 150. So if she bought 2.5 kg, she cost you 150 times 2.5. That should give you $3.75. So just punch into your calculator. So how much did they spend on blouses and biscuits altogether? Total is equals to $48.40 plus $3.75. Punch into your calculator. You should get $50.15. Now part B. How much did they pay for the pants if they paid cashier $60 and received $4.85 change? So the question also noted that they bought some pants. So firstly, we want to find out how much did the pants, blouses, and biscuits cost altogether. And we can do that by taking how much they paid the cashier minus the change that they received. So blouse plus biscuit plus the pants actually cost you $60 minus $4.85. So in total, they paid $55.15. And the blouses and biscuit, which we found out just now, cost you $52.15, which means that the pants that they bought actually just cost you the total minus the cost of the blouse and the biscuit. So that will be 55 $52.15 minus $52.15. And hence the pens cost you $3. Next, Mrs. Tan baked 120 buns, 3/5 were chocolate buns. The rest were strawberry buns. She gave an equal number of chocolate buns and strawberry buns and had 7 times as many chocolate buns as strawberry buns left. How many buns did she give altogether? Okay, so can you guys tell me this 3 unit belongs to who? Yes, it belongs to the chocolate buns. And the 5 unit belongs to the buns, right? Which means the total. So the remaining 2 units will belong to the strawberry buns. So strawberry buns, just take the total, which is 5 units, minus chocolate buns, which is 3 units. So strawberry buns has 2 units. So now we can draw out the ratio. So we have choco, we have strawberry. Initially, they started with 3:2. After that, they give equal number. And what do they end up? They end up with 7 times as many chocolate buns as strawberry buns, which means this 7 belongs to the chocolate and strawberry only has 1 unit. Okay, so this question right actually tests you the concept of differences being the same. So the differences should always be the same. I will tell you why later. So I'll just do another column which states the differences. So this will have a difference of 1 unit. This will have a difference of 6 unit. So I just take 7 minus 1 unit. Then that's 6 unit. For this, I take 3 minus 2 unit. That's why it's 1 unit. Okay, so I'll teach you the concept of the same differences. So for instance, you have a sibling. So your age versus your sibling's age. So for instance, this year your age is 12 and your younger sibling's age is 11. So that's a difference of 1, right? 5 years later, your age will be 17 and your sibling's age will be 16. That's still a difference of 1, right? Okay, so like what I was saying, your age and the difference between your age and your sibling's age will always be the same. Be it 5 years later, 5 years before, the difference will always be the same. So same logic for this. The difference between the number of chocolate buns and strawberry buns will always be the same since she gave an equal number of chocolate buns and strawberry buns away. So if you look at this, the difference cannot be 1 unit and 6 unit at the same time. You can't be 2 things at the same time, which means that first row you have to multiply it by 6. The whole row multiply it by 6. So what you will get in the end, so at first, so choco versus strawberry versus difference. So at first you will get 3 unit times 6, which is 18 unit, is to 2 unit times 6, which is 12 unit. So there's a difference of 6 units. And you minus the same amount, minus the same amount. In the end, you end up with 7 unit is to 1 unit, and the difference is 6 units. So now you can see how much did Mrs. Tan gave away. So from 18 unit to 7 unit, it was simply a subtraction of 11 units, right? From 12 unit to 1 unit is also simply a subtraction of 11 unit. So you can see that Mrs. Tan actually gave out 11 units of choco buns and 11 units of strawberry buns away. Okay, so now we have to find out the exact number of buns. So she said that she baked 120 buns. So if I have another column for total, so at first the total is 18 units plus 12 units, which is 30 units. So at first 30 units is 120 because she baked 120 buns. So 1 unit will just be 120 divided by 30, which will give you 4. Then how many buns did she give away? So just now we already came to a conclusion that she gave away 11 units of chocolate buns and 11 units of strawberry buns. So in total, she gave away 22 units worth of buns. So just go and find out what 22 unit is, which is just 4 times 22, and that should give you 88. So in total, she gave away 88 buns. Okay, next question. Audrey and Betty have some money. If Audrey spends 3 units, the ratio of the amount of money Audrey has to the amount of money Betty has is 2:5. If Betty spends $3, the ratio will become 8:13. How much money does Audrey have? Okay, so this is another ratio question. Okay, so we have two characters here, Audrey and Betty. So if Audrey were to spend $3, then the ratio will be 2 units is to 5 units. On the other hand, if Betty were to be the one who spent the $3, the ratio will become 8:13. So 8 units is to 13 units. Okay, so this is another ratios question. So like the question before, there's actually something that we have to make it the same. And in this case, it's the total. What would the total amount of money what will be the sum of money? Why when you sum up Audrey's money and Betty's money in this first scenario, it will be equals to the why the total amount of money that Audrey and Betty have in this first scenario is equals to the total amount of money that Audrey and Betty have in this second scenario, right? Is because imagine this. For instance, you and your friend, you guys got some money. You and your friend, you got some money. You got $2, your friend got $1. So the total will be $3. If your friend spend $1, he will have $0 left. So the total is $2. On the other hand, if you were the one who spent $1, so you started with 2, your friend started with 1, total 3. You were the one who spent $1, so you minus $1. You will end up with $1, your friend will end up with $1. Total will still be $2. So this will be true even when the number becomes very big. So if you use that logic over here, in this question, the total should be the same. So total in first scenario is 7 units. Total in second scenario is 8 plus 13 units, which is 21 units. So since the total cannot be 7 and 21 units at the same time, right? Like I said, you cannot be two things at the same time. You have to decide on one. So we will find the lowest common multiple, which is 21. So for the first scenario, the whole row will times 3. So for the first scenario, if Audrey were to spend $3, you will end up with a ratio of 2 times 3, 6 units, 5 times 3, 15 units, 7 times 3, 21 units. You will end up with a ratio like this. The second scenario will keep, there will be no changes. So now I hope you can see something very cool over here. So Audrey actually started with 8 units. After she spends $3, she ends up with 6 units. And Betty originally started with 15 units. If she spends $3, she ends up with 13 units, which means that this $3 actually belongs to 2 units. So 2 units is this $3. And now the question asks, how much does Audrey have? So Audrey have 8 units. So now we just have to find out what 1 unit is, which is just 3/2. Then find out what 8 units is. So 8 units is just 3/2 times 8. Just punch into your calculator, you should get 12. Answer is hence 12. Betty has $12. Next, a swimming club has 30 girls and a number of boys. The number of boys increased by 15% to 46 and the number of girls decreased by 30%. What is the overall increase or decrease in the club's membership? So we have girls and boys in this case. So we'll start with boys first. So original is always 100%. And when the number of boys increased by 15%, so now it's 115%. How do I get 115 is just 100 plus 15%. The number is then 46, which means 115% of boys is 46. So you want to find out originally how many boys were there. Original will be 100%. So this is paper 2, you have a calculator. just punch into your calculator. So 100% of boys, which is the original number of boys, is just 46 divided by 115 times 100. That should give you 40. And for girls, on the other hand, there were 30 girls at first. So at first there were 30 girls, and this original will always be 100%. Then the number of girls decreased by 30%. So 100% of girls is 30. Now decreased by 30%. So 100% minus 30% is 70%. So now there's only 70% of girls left. So we want to find out what number is that. So just find out 70% of girls is how many. So you take 30 divided by 100 times 70. Punch into your calculator. You should get 21. So at first, the total number of boys and girls is just this, right? So 100% of the girls is 30, 100% of the boys is 40. So this was the original batch. So 40 plus 30 is equals to 70. In the end, total number of boys and girls became what? Became 46, because increased to 115% for the boys, and became 21 for the girls, because girls decreased by 30%. So it will be 46 plus 21, which is 67. Okay, so what's the overall change, right? You can see that at first it's 70, in the end it's 67. So there's actually a decrease of 3. So in the end, you decrease. So overall, there's a decrease by 3. And that's your answer for that. Okay, next up, we have question 16. In 2011, Mr. Tan's monthly salary was 2,200 for the first 8 months. His monthly salary was increased by 20% for the rest of the year. His total income for 2011 was 10% more than his total income in 2010. Part A asks you to find his total income in 2011. Okay, so in 2011, for the first 8 months, so January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. I hope you know your 12 months. So for the first 8 months, monthly salary means per month, he earned 2.2k. So 2,200 first month, second month, third month, fourth month, fifth month, sixth month, 7 months, 8 months. Then for the rest of the year, so for September, October, November, and December, his monthly salary, so per month, there was an increase by 20%. So original is always 100%. So originally, he earned $2,200 per month. So now increased by 20%. So you plus 20. So now he's earning 120% of what he earned originally. So 120%, just 2,200 divided by 100 times 120. So punch that into your calculator. You should get 2,640. Which means that for September, he earns 2,640. For October, he earns 2,640. For November, he earns 2,640. For December, he earns 2,640. Very good. So his total income in 2011. So they want you to sum up, which means plus all his monthly salary from January all the way to December. So instead of plussing all of them, we have a very special operators to use, right? Which is our, you're right, it's your multiplication operator. So first 8 months, he would have earned 2,200 times 8. And that will be 17600. For the last 4 months, he will have earned 2,640 times 4. Punch into your calculator. You get 10560. Okay, so his total income in 2011 will just be 17600. So add out the first 8 months plus the last 4 months plus 10560. Punch into your calculator. Should get 28160. Okay, I'm tired of holding the mic. Okay, now we'll do question B. So I'll just shift this away. It can be somewhere here. So question B talks about 2010. So part B, that was part A over there. So the question told you his total income for 2011 was 10% more than the total income in 2010. 10% more than this, right? So 2010 we treat it as 100%. 11 is 10% more than this 100%. So 2011 was 110% of 2010. So 2011, the total income was 28160, which means that 110% is 28160. So we just need to find what 100% is, which is the total income in 2010. So year 2010 will be 100%, which is just 28160 divided by 110 times 100. So you should get 25600. Okay, so for part A is 28160, for part B is 25600. So that's your answer for question 16. Next, question 17. The figure is made of two overlapping squares to form a third square, which is shaded. The ratio of the unshaded area of the smaller square to the unshaded area of the larger square is 3:7. The ratio of the shaded area to the total unshaded area is 1:50. Given that the shaded area is 4 cm square, find the ratio of the parameter of the smaller square to that of the larger square. Okay, so there's a lot of information right there. I'm going to try to color code things. So we'll go through the very first, we'll go through the second sentence first. This part. So they tell you that area of unshaded smaller square. So this part to area of unshaded area of the larger square, this part is 3:7. Next, ratio of shaded area to total unshaded area is 1:15, which means that this shaded is 1 unit, and this plus this will give you 50 units. Then they tell you that the shaded area is 4 cm square. Okay, so we have a lot of information right now, so let's digest it. So this guy plus this guy, at first we said that there are 3 units and 7 units separately, right? Which means that if we add them up, it will be 10 units. Okay, so like I said earlier, it can't be two things at the same time. So it can't be 10 units and 50 units at the same time, which means that we have to do multiplication for one of them. The lowest common multiple in this case is actually 50. So we'll times 5 for the whole thing here. So 3 units times 5, 7 units times 5. So we should get 15 units here, and we should get 35 units here. So now everything is on the same scale, and now we can do the question. So now we are given that the shaded area is 4 cm square, which means that 1 unit is 4 cm square. Okay, what's up, guys? Sorry, I changed of location because I realized that the screen was not updating even when I'm writing on the screen. So no more aircon room. Now I'll just be in my living room and hope I can last through the heat. Okay. Anyways, so this 1 unit over here, I was trying to say this 1 unit over here It's actually equates to 4 cm square. Then after that, we want to find out what's the area of the unshaded. So the unshaded, this part here is 15 units. So just be 15 times 4, which will equate to 60. This unshaded part here equates to 35 units, which should be 4 times 35. Take out a mighty calculator, 4 times 35, that should give you 140. Then now, you just have to find out what. So now in order to find the parameter of the smaller square to that of the larger square, you have to find out what's the area of the smaller square and larger square first. So area of the smaller square, which is this yellow guy over here, is just this plus this. So 60 plus 4, which is 64. And this bigger guy over here, the larger square, so area of larger square, will just be this 1 unit plus this 35 units, right? So this 1 unit plus this 35 units. So it'll be 4 plus 140, which is equals to 144. So now that you have the area of the individual squares, you can find what the parameter is, because one special thing about squares are that all sides order. I'll give you the mic. All sides are the same. Yes, all sides are the same. Which means this smaller square, 64 cm square. So how do you find the sides, right? You just have to square root 64. So if you look at your calculator, there's this square root function over here. Yep, that square root function over there. So you just have to key in square root of 64 and you'll get 8. So which means that for the smaller square, each side is 8 cm. 8 cm, 8 cm, 8 cm. And for the larger square, as a area of 144. So same thing, you just have to square root 144. You get 12. So this side is 12, 12, 12. Okay, so now we get to find the parameter of the smaller square and the larger square. So parameter of smaller square is just 8 times 4, which should give you 32. Parameter of larger square should just be 12 times 4. Sorry, that's a fly. 12 times 4, which should give you 48. Okay, so now that you have all the information you want, you can find the ratio. So the ratio of smaller square is 32. So now you can find the ratio of the parameter of smaller square to larger square, which is just 32 is to 48. So simplifying using your calculator. How to simplify using your calculator? Just key in the fraction of 32 over 48. And you press the equal sign, you should get 2/3. So the ratio is 2:3. Answer is 2:3. Hopefully that's clear. If you got any questions, same thing, just leave it down in the comment section below. Okay, next up. Our very last question. Give yourself a pat in the back. You guys have made it so far. Okay, so for our very last question, Midi said for a mathematical quiz, there were a total of 35 questions. For each question she answered correctly, 3 points were awarded. And for each question she answered wrongly, 2 points were deducted. But as is, and now there's another part where it says for each question she left blank, 1 point was deducted. If Millie did not answer 5 questions and score a total of 70 points, how many questions did Millie answer correctly? Okay, so there are actually two methods for this question. One is guess and check. And the second method, which I don't have a name for it, is the method that I would like to go through first. So usually for this type of question, they will only give you two scenarios. One scenario where she answered correctly and another scenario where she answered it wrongly. But for this particular question, there were actually three different scenarios. The other one being the scenario where she left it blank. So to make life simpler for us, we will try to eliminate this last scenario because we were given that Millie did not answer 5 questions and scored a total of 70 points. So the number of questions which were answered correctly / wrongly is 35 minus 5. So we exclude the number of questions that was left blank. And in the case where she did not left blank, how much points would she get? It will be 70 plus 5, which is 75. Why is this the case? It's because she did not answer 5 questions, and for every question that she did not answer, 1 point was deducted. So minus 5 here, which means that if she had not left it blank, she would have scored a total of 75. So now we are just trying to exclude all the questions that she left blank. So for all the remaining 30 questions, she would have scored a total amount of 70. She would have scored a total of 75 points. Okay, so now for this method, we would let all remaining 30 questions that Millie answered to be correct, to have correct answer. So for this method, we will let all 30 remaining questions be questions that Millie answered correctly. So if we let the remaining 30 questions be questions that Millie answered correctly, the total number of points will be 30 times 3, which is 90. Because let's recap, for each question that she answered correctly, she will be awarded 3 points. Okay, so now we'll find the big difference and small difference. Okay, so just a warning, the answer that you get from this will actually be the number of questions you answered. That means, okay, just a warning for this method. So the answer that you get at first will be the number of questions she answered wrongly. So it will actually be the opposite of the condition that you set at first. So if you want to find out how many questions Millie answered correctly, right, you have to take the total number of questions minus the number of questions she left blank minus the number of questions she got it wrong. If you started out here to be number of questions that Millie answered wrongly, the answer that you get from this method will actually be the number of questions she got correctly. So it's basically the opposite. So that's something you should note. Okay, so now we will continue. The big difference will be total number of points she would have gotten if she got all correctly versus the actual points that she got. So that will be 15. Small difference will be the difference in the number of points when she scored correctly versus when she scored wrongly. So that will be 3 minus minus 2. Why is there a minus sign here? Because she will actually be deducted 2 marks if she got it wrongly. So minus and minus, they will neutralize each other. It becomes plus. So it'll be 3 plus. Okay, so minus sign here, minus sign here. Minus and minus will neutralize each other, so it becomes plus. So it becomes 3 plus 2, which is 5. So now when you take big difference divided by small difference, you get a number of questions scored wrongly. as we have discussed just now. Scored wrongly. Or answered wrongly. So it will be 15 divided by 5, which is 3. Okay. So now you just take. So now to find the number of questions scored correctly, answered correctly, it will just be the total number of questions, which is 35, minus number of questions she left blank, which is 5, minus number of questions scored wrongly, which is 3. So you should get 27 in the end. 27. So now with this, I can teach you how to do the guess and check method. So I will draw the table out for you. So column 1 will be number of questions answered correctly. And it will be number of marks awarded. Then it will be number of questions answered wrongly. Number of marks deducted. Total number of marks. And then you check whether it's what you want. Okay, so the total number of marks, right, should be 70 plus 5, which is 75, because we have decided to exclude the questions that she left blank so that you have less columns and it's more simpler to deal with. So if you get 75 here, it'll be a tick here. Okay, so just now we already concluded 27 questions was answered correctly, and 3 questions were answered wrongly. So we can check. So if you get 27 answered correctly, you'll get 27 times 3 marks. This is the number of marks you're awarded, which is 81. If you have 3 questions answered wrongly, number of marks deducted is 3 times 2, which is 6. So I'm referencing to these 2 numbers here. So total number of marks will be 81 minus 6, which will give you 75, which is exactly what you want. That's why it's a tick here. Okay, so that's all for today. I hope you learned quite a bit here because there were a few hard questions here and there. And if you still don't understand, you can rewatch this video or you can ask me in class later or leave it down in the comment section below. That's all for today. Hope you have a nice day ahead. See you.